We are 3 episodes deep, and boy howdy, the claws are coming out. Let's get started. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba. Hello everyone, welcome to Thumb Together. My name is Andrew Fantasia, and today we're going to be talking about Succession Season 3, Episode 3, The Disruption Together. As usual, if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to give it a thumbs up and give some love to that subscribe button as well. The Disruption is a disruption in many senses of the word, because there's a talk show called The Disruption that seems to be some kind of hybrid between the Colbert Report and Last Week Tonight with John Oliver kind of situation, where it's just this really funny lady who makes political commentary and, just shits on horrible people like the Roys. If that show was real, I would probably be a fan. But more importantly, it's about the disruption of plans, namely the plans of pretty much everybody but Shiv and Kendall at the forefront. First of all, I just want to say after, 2 years ago with them being on the yacht, and then we spent the last 2 episodes of them sort of scattered and abroad and in hotel rooms and such. It's so nice to see them back in the Waystar offices. It feels like we've come home. Just seeing those beautiful glass office doors and the skyline of NYC out the window. It's just, yep, this is Succession. We're back. We're back where we belong. Except Kendall, who's kind of not where he belongs anymore, because he's not technically allowed there, but he kind of is. I don't get it. I don't get this, the law of it all. There is no law that says Kendall can't come into that building, right? It's just Logan being petty saying, don't let him in. I think that's the only thing. It's basically like, you can legally come into my home, but you're not welcome in my home. And this made for, in my opinion, the most tense part of this episode, because there's that feeling, that gut-wrenching anxiety, knowing that these two, Kendall and Logan, have not been in a room together since, the shit hit the fan. And now he is coming into the building and the music starts to build and everybody is kind of running to and fro. Like, what do we do? Okay, batten down the hatches. Do this, do that, secure it. Fine, let him in through the back way. And all this chaos is happening in the lobby where people are saying, I'm getting orders not to let him in, but now you're telling me I should let him in and his card doesn't work, but she's going to let him use her card. And you just feel like, oh God, every step he takes closer to that upstairs office is one more step that might lead him to turning a corner and coming face to face with his father. And if that happens, what will they do? Logan Roy is not the kind of man who we would have trouble predicting his actions. We know the general idea of how he's going to react. We've got a good ballpark guess. But if he turned the corner and saw Kendall there, would he really punch him in the nose? Because even though that's what he says, Logan can be all bluster sometimes, because that's just how he is. He's not all bark and no bite, but he's mostly bark. Now, Kendall, on the other hand, in this episode, he bites. He comes into the office to bite. And the way that he bites is disturbingly hilarious, cutting into that town hall meeting, which was, let's face it, just a sham PR thing to cover things up, parading the lone Roy daughter front and center in this display of forced wokeness to be like, look, I get it, we get it, that's our new slogan, we get it, we're bad. So to have Kendall disrupt that by playing Rape Me by Nirvana during Shiv's speech and just flat out ruining the whole moment for her and for Waystar was the coldest, most calculated thing Kendall has done thus far, but also one of the funniest things that the Roy siblings have done to snap at each other. And I'm not going to lie, considering how many awful companies do awful things like this in real life, I kind of wish somebody grabbed some wireless speakers and played this Nirvana song when these companies tried to do something to save their own horrible, horrible appearances. So that was one disruption, but then in classic spy versus spy format here, Shiv bites back and disrupts Kendall, because Kendall's about to walk onto the disruption and have a laugh at his own expense, I guess? I don't really know what his plan is there, except maybe just to keep himself in the conversation, which, like he says, is a good thing for him. He's right. Bad publicity is still publicity. But when Shiv drafts up this statement that he can't laugh off, it hurts him so bad that we see season 2 Kendall, we see utterly defeated Kendall come back, and he just slowly goes and hides in a server room and buries his face in his knees and refuses to come out. And see, folks, this is the saddest part about being a Roy, because Logan raised these kids, well, not very well and not very presently, but when he did have a hand in raising the kids, he raised them to do what he does best. Find weaknesses in others and exploit those weaknesses. And that's exactly what's going on here. Kendall knows that Shiv's weakness in this particular instance is that she has been wanting this moment, this town hall moment, for the whole series. She has been wanting to stand up and start to take her father's place and bring the company in the direction that she feels is right. And even if she has to bite the bullet and do this little thing that she knows is a sham, she will do it because it's a stepping stone for her. And Kendall knows how important it is for her, and that's where he strikes. Conversely, Shiv knows that Kendall has a lot of things he can laugh off, but his addiction, what it did to that waiter, and how it affected him and his family are things he cannot laugh off because they hurt too much. They cut too deeply. So when his own sibling brings them up to the whole world, all of that bravado is out the window, and Kendall is a quivering mess again. She knows his buttons just as well as he knows hers. And as if this wasn't full of enough cruelty, Disruption features what might be the saddest thing to ever befall one of our characters, and that is the way Tom is treated by both his father-in-law and his wife. Tom has been told by getting second opinions from legal aid that it's very likely his complicity in all this scandal is going to see him face jail time. Now, Tom is obviously not the only person complicit in this entire thing. There are many, many more people, but in a bit of a drunken stupor, he decides maybe to garner favor with Logan, he will step out front and take the full blame. And the way that Shiv and Logan react to Tom volunteering to be a sacrificial lamb is so sad because they both do the same thing. And I love the way that both of those actors handle it. Sarah Snook and Brian Cox did it in a way that's so realistic for people as awful as the Roys. Like, it just fits. They both give Tom that insincere reassuredness. No, Tom, no, it's not going to come to that. It will not come to that. You don't have to worry. Followed up by, but that's a really smart idea. And thank you for offering. I'll keep that in mind. Ugh! It's so evil. And the speed at which they are ready to throw Tom under the bus, even though he's volunteering to get in the street to begin with, shows just how much lack of compassion there is in this nest of vipers. Nobody cares about anybody but themselves. Tom is only doing this to garner favor with Logan. Not out of any heroic self-image he's trying to create. He's not trying to be a white knight. He just figures, hey, I'll get maybe a year of prison time tops, and when I come out, I'll be the golden boy. And the golden boy is usually next in line to inherit the throne. That's all Tom is caring about. And it's so wonderful how this show deftly juggles that by making us feel sorry for these people and then reminding us very constantly we shouldn't because they're awful. And you know, I realized something. I haven't done this, and I should, because this show absolutely deserves it. Every week, we should start having the best quote. That really has to be a thing. Succession has some of the snappiest, wittiest quotations in all of television history, and I'll be damned if I'm going to let that opportunity pass me by. So we are starting a new tradition here on the channel. Whenever I cover an episode of Succession, I'm giving away an award to the best quote. And for our inaugural best quote, I'm giving that award to Connor Roy. Connor had a few neat little zingers in his one scene this episode when Siobhan proposes to her brothers that they all sign this statement that bashes Kendall in the worst possible way. And Roman and Connor don't feel comfortable signing it because even they think it's a bridge too far. And Connor just keeps one-upping himself because first he calls the note a greeting card from hell, and then he proceeds to call it a Times New Roman firing squad. But finally, he comes up with the best line yet when they're talking about how their images can be manipulated by the press for its own biased reasons. And Connor says, you know, PGN pulls that photo of me with a ponytail anytime they want to make me look untrustworthy. This conjures up all the best images. Best quote of the episode. You win, Connor. Well, that was Succession Season 3, Episode 3, The Disruption, and it was so uncomfortably cruel. I can't believe we're only 3 episodes in. 7 left to go. We still haven't met Adrian Brody. We still haven't met the Skarsgård, whose first name I can't remember. Lots of new characters showing up this season, and we've only scratched the surface. I think we might end up getting some kind of time jump soon, because so far all of this has happened within like a week of the end of Season 2. So according to the show's timeline, it's still 2019, But see, I don't know, because the FBI have raided things. What's that going to do to Waystar Royco? What are they going to find? What aren't they going to find? Maybe this is an opportune moment for a time jump to shake things up a bit and make us kind of try to fill in the missing gaps. I don't know. I have no idea how that's going to work, but this FBI raid is clearly taking the show in a scary new direction. And we'll be right there to talk about what happens as a result. So I'll see you here next week on Thumb Together. Until then, my friends, adios.